Well, it's Greece that heads the line of countries destabilising the Eurozone, and it's in Athens that the new coalition unity government's been formed to tackle the debt crisis there. Of course, this comes after weeks of political chaos that's put Greek Euro membership in jeopardy. Prime Minister George Papandreou has agreed to step down, with his replacement due to be announced later. The new interim government will lead the country until elections. They're expected to be held in February next year. The government's main task will be to approve a €130 billion emergency rescue package that was reached between European leaders. And there are now concerns that Italy is on its way to becoming the next victim of the European debt crisis. What a mess. Let's talk about it all with economics analyst Nick Skrekas. He's on the line from Athens. Good to see you, Nick. The world then holding its breath for one Greek Prime Minister to go and a new one to be appointed. But, Nick, whoever that is, can he or she actually do anything, really, to change the situation in Greece and make it much better?
Much better, no, but at least sustainable until we can go to elections and elect a new government, which is probably going to be a coalition as well. Let's face it, over the weekend, just about every sane Greek was holding his breath, hoping that this deal would be reached, and it wasn't until the late hours of yesterday that we had confirmation of it. Without it, we would have lost funding, and without it, we would have faced an economic implosion within a few months and possibly a messy Eurozone exit.
So is this really, though, the golden way forward, the golden path that should be taken? I mean, is Athens doing everything it can to navigate its way out of this mess?
No, I don't think Athens and the political system is doing everything it can. I think it's about time that the political system became a little bit more responsible and responsive to the needs of the country and Greece itself. I think a coalition should have been formed quite a while ago. It seemed that a lot of the opposition parties were having their cake and eating it too, in the sense that they were voting for the money but never for the austerity.
Nick, let me just get this straight. You're on the ground, you're in the country there. You're telling me that despite everything we have witnessed over the last few months especially, when all this trouble's been piling on top of trouble, people are worried about their wages, they're worried about getting paid, they're being laid off. You're telling me that the politicians, you think, still haven't really got the message, they're not doing everything as much as they possibly could, 100%?
I think they just finally got the message in the last couple of weeks, in the sense that there were no other good options for them. And so they had to sit down and hammer out some sort of agreement for the country to be able to progress and at least not lose the funding, at least not lose that opportunity. It's about time that it happened, quite honestly.
The word at everyone's lips now, of course, is contagion. Should other EU members be worried about their own economies? We'll talk about Italy specifically in a moment, but Italy aside, what about the others?
Well, I think Italy and Spain are probably still the two largest threats to the Eurozone, and certainly Italy is very concerning in that the political situation there is more unstable than it is in Greece, and their borrowing rates are reaching very unsustainable levels. I think that there are many good reasons to worry for other countries, and even core countries like France, who may well lose their AAA rating at some point in the future.
We've talked about Italy at length in the past. You just mentioned there about the cost of borrowing at an all-time high. Just reminding our viewers, it reached an all-time high today for a while, the cost of those 10-year bonds rocketing right up, getting close actually to that 7%. They say when buyers won't even want to buy, but let's worry about that in the future. Surely there's no way, though, that Athens, that Italy can be allowed to follow what Athens is doing. Italy's too big to fail, isn't it?
Exactly. It's too big to fail, and there isn't enough money to save it. And the problem is that despite all of the ECB intervention that has happened in the last week, those yields just keep climbing. So it's not going to be a simple matter at all.
Another question we've been saying for a long time, but, you know, as the time ticks on, it gets more and more pertinent. Can the single currency survive this crisis? Or is it time to face the unpalatable truth? A lot of people are asking this question, and abolish the project that some say was flawed from the start.
It's not quite as simple as abolishing it overnight. You can't really do that in any simple situation. What they do have to do, of course, other than just bailing out some countries and putting up some defences in the short term, is have a really good look at the treaties and the infrastructure of the whole project and see if there is some reform that can make it more workable. Of course, when you have 17 different very different economies and very different countries. Setting one uniform monetary policy is always going to be haphazard. And when the ECB itself can't lend to countries, then things can be very problematic.
Nick Skrekas, it's always good to get your cool head and view on these things, economics analyst, as you are live from Athens. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kevin.
Now,